The story begins with a dark, ominous silence that echoes across the galaxy. In the far reaches of space, a massive alien fleet hovers above a once peaceful human colony, now nothing more than a speck of dust in the void. The fleet is led by an AI-controlled warship, an imposing, emotionless machine designed solely for destruction. With its cold, calculating mind, the AI orchestrates the annihilation of the colony, reducing everything to rubble. The bright lights of human civilization are extinguished in a matter of moments, and the entire galaxy trembles at the might of this ruthless alien empire. As the alien forces continue their merciless assault, the leaders of the Galactic Council watch helplessly from their distant command centers. They know they are powerless to stop the unstoppable. For decades, this alien empire has spread its terror across the stars, crushing entire civilizations beneath its mechanical boots. The AI-driven warship leads the charge, its artificial intelligence far superior to any of the galaxy's defenses. The Council's attempts to rally a resistance have failed time and time again. The threat seems endless. In a distant, forgotten corner of the galaxy, Earth remains largely unaffected by the alien threat. The humans have remained out of the limelight, peaceful and secluded, their technology and culture largely unknown to the galactic powers. Yet this ignorance may be their greatest advantage. In the deep, underground bunkers of Earth, a hidden program lies dormant, one that could change the course of the galaxy's future. For centuries, Earth has prepared for an invasion that never came. At the heart of this secret program is a group of genetically enhanced humans, Earth's super soldiers. These men and women were designed for one purpose: to be the ultimate warriors. Their bodies and minds have been modified beyond natural limits, giving them enhanced strength, speed, and intelligence. They were trained in combat, strategy, and survival techniques to fight against an enemy like no other. But their training was never meant to be used. These soldiers were placed in Cryo sleep, hidden away, in case humanity faced an existential threat. Their existence was a last resort measure, something the government hoped would never need to be used. But that time has come. The story shifts to Earth's underground facility, where the super soldiers rest in their frozen chambers. The hum of ancient machinery fills the cold air, and the camera focuses on the chambers where the soldiers lie dormant, unaware of the chaos unfolding beyond the stars. Then, without warning, a strange signal breaks the silence. A transmission from deep space reaches Earth's command center. It is a distress call from a human colony that has just been obliterated by the alien forces. The government officials, who have long doubted the necessity of such a program, now find themselves with no other choice. They activate the Cryo chambers, and the countdown begins. The once dormant soldiers begin to stir, slowly awakening from their centuries-long slumber. Their systems boot up, their bodies regenerating and their minds slowly returning to consciousness. As the soldiers awaken, the tension builds. They are humanity's last hope, but will they be ready to face the enemy that has been terrorizing the galaxy for so long? As the soldiers come to life, the world outside them begins to change. The alien empire has set its sights on another human colony, one that is far more populated and valuable. The fate of Earth now hangs in the balance. Earth's government knows that these super soldiers are their last line of defense. The soldiers are equipped with advanced technology, cloaking devices, AI assistants, and battle drones. Their skills and knowledge of combat are unmatched. But even with all their enhancements, they face a terrifying challenge. The alien forces are overwhelming in numbers and power. Their AI-driven strategies make them nearly impossible to predict. As the soldiers prepare for battle, they are filled with a mix of uncertainty and resolve. They've been asleep for so long, and the world they once knew has changed. They know nothing of the current galaxy's politics or the technology the alien empire uses. But they are trained for one thing: combat. Their bodies are ready, but their minds must quickly adjust to the new reality. In the span of mere hours, they must transform from dormant soldiers into the galaxy's last hope. Meanwhile, the alien forces, unaware of Earth's secret weapon, continue their march across the galaxy. The AI-driven warship leads its fleet toward the next target, a peaceful human outpost. The ship's AI monitors everything with surgical precision, anticipating every move of the galactic resistance. The aliens believe their victory is assured. After all, no one has ever stood a chance against their technological superiority. But what the aliens don't know is that Earth's greatest warriors are awakening. The countdown is almost over, and the super soldiers will soon face their first test. As they prepare to deploy, the tension is palpable. Can they adapt quickly enough to save humanity from certain destruction? Will they be able to learn from the mistakes of the past and stop the alien threat before it's too late? As the soldiers step out into the world, their first mission awaits. It is clear that the war for the galaxy is about to enter a new phase, and the fate of humanity now rests in the hands of these super-enhanced humans who have awoken just in time to turn the tide. The suspense continues to build as Earth's final weapon emerges, ready to strike at the heart of the alien empire. The story leaves the audience with one burning question. Will Earth's super soldiers be enough to stop the terror of the galaxy, or have they awakened too late? This opening sets the stage for the larger battle to come, establishing the high stakes and emotional core of the story. The galaxy is on the brink of total destruction, and Earth's hidden weapon may be the only thing standing in the way of the alien empire's reign of terror. The suspense continues to rise as the audience is drawn into the conflict, wondering how this underdog team of super soldiers will fare against an overwhelming, technologically superior foe. The super soldiers slowly began to awaken from their deep cryo sleep, their bodies stiff from centuries of dormancy. At first, there was nothing but confusion. Their minds struggled to catch up with the present reality. They had been designed for battle, yes, but they had never been meant to experience this. Their once strong bodies now felt fragile, their senses dulled by their long slumber. The chambers around them hummed with the mechanical sounds of the cryo process coming to an end, and the soldiers blinked their eyes, adjusting to the cold, harsh light of the underground facility. Among them was Commander Rylan, the leader of the unit. He had been frozen in time just like the others, but he wasn't like the rest of the soldiers. His eyes held a weight that no one else carried. Behind his stoic face was a troubled past, a personal vendetta against the alien empire that had been tormenting the galaxy. He had lost everything to the same alien forces that now threatened to crush humanity. His wife and child had been taken, and their deaths haunted his every thought. The agony of that loss fueled his drive to destroy the alien invaders, and now, after centuries of waiting, he had been given another chance. He wasn't going to let it slip away. The soldiers were quickly briefed on the situation. The galaxy was in chaos, and the alien empire, led by an AI-controlled warship, had wiped out countless civilizations. Earth's government had kept the soldiers hidden for emergencies like this, and now their time had come. There was no more hiding, no more waiting. They were Earth's last hope. Commander Rylan listened intently, absorbing every word, his hands clenched in fists. His duty was clear: protect humanity, destroy the alien empire. He couldn't fail, not when so much was at stake. The soldiers were briefed on the high-tech equipment they would use. Their armor was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, lightweight but incredibly durable, capable of withstanding alien weaponry. Their weapons were designed for both long-range and close combat, with plasma guns that could melt through the toughest materials. The soldiers also had access to advanced cloaking devices, which would allow them to remain unseen as they struck. They would not be caught off guard. The real test would come when they boarded the warship designed specifically for their mission. The ship was a marvel of engineering, equipped with cloaking devices, powerful AI assistants, and a fleet of drones to support the soldiers in combat. This warship was not just a ship, it was a force of its own, designed to carry humanity's last defense against the alien threat. As the soldiers boarded the ship, they could feel the weight of their responsibility. The fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders. The mission was set. The soldiers would take down an alien outpost that had been terrorizing a neighboring planet. The outpost had been a constant thorn in the side of humanity, using advanced weaponry to crush any resistance. The planet's people had been living in fear for far too long, and now the super soldiers were their only hope for salvation. As the warship approached the outpost, the tension inside the ship was palpable. The soldiers sat in silence, their eyes fixed on the holographic map displaying the alien base. They could see the massive fortress looming in the distance, surrounded by a defensive perimeter of drones and weapons. They knew the mission wouldn't be easy, but they also knew it had to be done. The fate of the galaxy was hanging by a thread, and they had to prove that they were worthy of being humanity's last hope. Just as they prepared to make their move, disaster struck. The cloaking device, which had been their greatest tactical advantage, suddenly failed. A red light blinked on the ship's control panel, indicating a malfunction. The ship's AI began issuing warnings, but it was too late. The alien drones, lying in wait, had already detected them. Within seconds, the ship was surrounded by a swarm of alien machines, each one armed with deadly weaponry. The soldiers scrambled into action, donning their armor and grabbing their weapons. Commander Rylan barked orders, but there was no time for strategy. This was pure survival. The drones moved in fast, their weapons firing on all cylinders. Plasma beams cut through the air, and explosions rocked the ship's hull. The super soldiers fought with everything they had, but the battle quickly turned chaotic. The once organized assault became a desperate scramble as they fought to survive. Rylan's mind raced as he saw his soldiers engaged in brutal close-quarters combat. Their advanced armor protected them from most of the drone fire, but the drones were relentless. They were everywhere. The battle raged on in every corner of the ship, and the super soldiers fought like warriors from another age, their strength and training pushing them forward despite the overwhelming odds. The drones were not just machines. They were smart, calculating, and relentless. They adapted quickly to the soldiers' tactics, making it harder for the super soldiers to keep up. The warship's interior became a war zone, with blasts echoing through the corridors, and the soldiers ducking and weaving as they attempted to fight back. In the midst of the chaos, Commander Raylan found himself face to face with the enemy leader, a massive AI-controlled drone that was designed for combat at an entirely different level. Its weaponry was superior, and its intelligence was far beyond anything Rylan had ever faced. For a moment, Rylan's heart sank. Was this it? Had they failed before they even started? But then, something clicked. This wasn't just about power, it was about strategy. Rylan quickly realized that the key to winning wasn't brute force, it was adaptability. The super soldiers had the advantage in one thing that the drones couldn't match: human intuition. The soldiers adapted on the fly, exploiting weaknesses and using the ship's layout to their advantage. Slowly, the tides of battle began to turn. The soldiers regrouped, taking down drones one by one, pushing their way toward the central command of the ship. As Rylan and his team fought their way through the chaos, the warship's systems came back online, and they regained control. The first test was over, but it was only the beginning. The true battle had yet to come. In the aftermath of the battle, the soldiers stood among the wreckage of the warship, their bodies bruised and bloody but resolute. They had survived their first test, but they knew this was just the beginning. The alien threat was far from over, and their mission was far from complete. But they had proved one thing. They were Earth's last hope, and they were ready for whatever came next. The battle raged on as Rylan and his team fought tooth and nail against the alien forces. The battlefield was chaotic, filled with the deafening sound of laser fire and explosions. Alien drones swarmed in all directions, their weapons flashing with deadly intent, but the super soldiers held their ground. They moved with precision, their advanced training and technology giving them an edge. The soldiers were faster, stronger, and more resilient than the aliens had anticipated, but the sheer numbers of the enemy were overwhelming. Rylan led the charge, his plasma rifle blazing as he took down drones left and right. The team followed his lead, moving in sync, their cloaking devices allowing them to strike from the shadows. It was like a dance of death, each soldier expertly weaving between cover, taking out enemies with lethal efficiency. But despite their superior combat skills, the aliens seemed to keep coming. No matter how many drones they destroyed, more seemed to appear from the depths of the alien base. Bonner, one of Ryland's closest companions, fought alongside him, his eyes burning with determination. Bonner was a seasoned soldier, one of the few who had fought in the galaxy's early wars before being placed in cryo sleep. His experience made him invaluable to the team, and Ryland trusted him with his life. As they advanced through the alien base, Bonner was at Ryland's side, covering his back as they moved deeper into the heart of the enemy's stronghold. The tension in the air was thick as the soldiers pushed forward, and the weight of their mission pressed down on them. They knew that this battle was just the beginning, that the alien empire was vast, and they would face even greater threats in the days to come. But Ryland didn't let the fear creep in. He focused on the task at hand, determined to protect humanity and destroy the alien invaders. But then, tragedy struck. As Bonner moved to take out a group of enemy drones, an alien sniper, hidden in the shadows, took aim and fired. The shot struck Bonner in the chest, sending him sprawling to the ground. Ryland's heart sank as he turned to see his friend fall. Time seemed to slow as Bonner gasped for breath, his body twitching in pain. Ryland rushed to his side, his hands shaking as he tried to assess the damage. The wound was severe, and Bonner's life was slipping away. "Stay with me, Bonner," Ryland shouted, his voice hoarse with emotion. "You can't go." But Bonner's eyes were fading. He reached up weakly, gripping Ryland's arm with his bloodied hand. "Finish it, Ryland," Bonner whispered. "End this, for all of us." Ryland's heart clenched in his chest as he watched his friend die in his arms. He had always known that war came with a price, but nothing could have prepared him for the gut-wrenching pain of losing someone so close. Bonner had been more than a teammate, he had been family. And now, with his death, the weight of the mission grew heavier than ever. The soldiers took a moment to regroup, their emotions raw, but their resolve unshaken. Bonner's death had sparked something within them, a burning desire to finish the fight, no matter the cost. They could not let his sacrifice be in vain. They had come this far, and they would not stop until the alien empire was destroyed. With renewed determination, the super soldiers pushed forward, their cloaking devices flickering back on as they moved through the corridors of the alien base. They were determined to take control of the facility, to gather intelligence on the alien empire's next move. The battle raged on, and the soldiers fought with everything they had. The sound of laser fire and explosions echoed through the base as they cleared room after room, taking down drones and alien soldiers with precision. They were a force to be reckoned with, each soldier moving like a well-oiled machine. But the aliens, despite their losses, were relentless. They fought to the last drone, to the last soldier, refusing to give up. As the battle reached its peak, Ryland and his team finally breached the heart of the alien base. The control room, once a symbol of the enemy's power, was now in their hands. The soldiers stood victorious. But the cost of that victory was clear. They had lost one of their own, and that loss would stay with them forever. But there was no time for mourning. Not yet. The soldiers quickly set to work, gathering crucial intelligence from the alien base. They uncovered plans for a full-scale attack on the remaining galactic resistance, a brutal offensive that would wipe out the last pockets of rebellion across the galaxy. The information they had gathered was invaluable, and it gave them a glimpse into the enemy's next move. Ryland stood at the center of the control room, his gaze fixed on the holographic map that displayed the alien empire's forces. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The soldiers had taken a step forward, but the road ahead would be long and treacherous. And with every victory, the weight of their responsibility would only grow heavier. The team stood together, united in their grief, but also in their determination. Bonner's death had solidified their resolve. They would not stop until the alien empire was destroyed and humanity was free. The soldiers had come from different backgrounds, different lives, but they were all bound by one thing now: the desire to protect their people and bring an end to the alien menace. Rylan looked out at his team, his mind heavy with the losses they had endured, but his heart filled with hope. They were no longer just soldiers. They were humanity's last hope, and they would fight to the very end. The battle was far from over, but one thing was certain: the super soldiers had proven that they were capable of more than just surviving. They had shown that they were willing to fight, to sacrifice, and to win, no matter the odds. And in the end, it would be their courage and determination that would turn the tide of the galaxy's war. The team's next move would be their most dangerous yet, but they were ready. The alien empire had no idea what was coming for them. And with Earth's super soldiers leading the charge, victory was within reach. Rylan and his team stood on the edge of the unknown, staring down the heavily fortified homeworld of the alien empire. It was located deep within an uncharted sector of the galaxy, a place so distant and dangerous that few had dared venture near it. Yet here they were, humanity's last hope, preparing to face their greatest challenge yet. The journey had been long, and the battles had been brutal. But with the death of Bonner still fresh in their minds, they knew they had no choice. They had to push forward. The alien empire had taken so much from them: their families, their homes, their way of life. And now, Rylan and his team were determined to take it all back. Revenge burned in their veins, but it was more than just that. They were fighting for survival, for the future of humanity. The stakes had never been higher. The soldiers were outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched by the eye-controlled empire they were up against, but they didn't care. They had fought through the darkness before, and they would do it again. This was their fight. Rylan's voice broke through the tension as he looked over the strategy map. "We move in silent. One mistake and we're done for. Keep your eyes sharp. This is the last step." His words were simple, but the weight behind them was clear. Everyone knew what was at stake. They had trained for years, prepared for the impossible, and now, with the guidance of advanced cloaking technology and high-tech weaponry, they were ready. But as they infiltrated the alien planet, something felt off. The planet's surface was dark, cold, and eerily silent, an unsettling stillness that sent chills through the soldiers' spines. The first signs of trouble came quickly. They had only just begun their descent when the cloaking device started flickering. "Stay low," Rylan commanded, his voice low but urgent. They all knew that any hint of their presence could mean the end. The alien empire had eyes everywhere, and those eyes were sharp. The soldiers moved cautiously, sticking to the shadows as much as possible. They were ghosts, slipping through the cracks of the enemy's defenses, always aware that danger could strike at any moment. As they neared the heart of the alien stronghold, the tension in the air thickened. Every corner, every building, every shadow seemed to hide a threat. The soldiers pushed forward, adrenaline coursing through their veins, the weight of their mission driving them onward. But just as they were about to breach the final barrier, they realized something terrifying. The eye-controlled empire had been waiting for them. A sudden explosion shattered the silence, followed by the hiss of robotic drones emerging from hidden chambers all around them. Rylan's heart pounded as he looked around, taking in the sight of hundreds, no, thousands, of mechanical enemies closing in on them. The alien leader, the AI-driven supreme being who had commanded the galaxy's invasion, had anticipated their every move. It was as if the AI had known they would come. It had prepared for them. The battle erupted in an instant. The soldiers fought with everything they had, using their advanced technology to fight back the swarm of robotic drones that had surrounded them. The sound of weapons firing, the screech of drones crashing to the ground, and the roar of explosions filled the air. Rylan's plasma rifle hummed with power as he took down wave after wave of enemies. The team moved with military precision, working together seamlessly as they had been trained to do. But despite their skill and technology, the odds were against them. The alien forces were vast, and their weapons were devastating. A hail of laser fire hit the ground near Rylan, forcing him to dive behind a nearby pillar. He rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding a direct hit. His heart raced as he took a breath, steadying himself before peering out to survey the battlefield. The ground was littered with debris from the battle, fallen drones, destroyed machinery, and scorched earth. The air was thick with smoke, making it difficult to see more than a few feet in front of him. But there was no time to waste. The soldiers had to keep moving. They couldn't afford to slow down. Ryland signaled for his team to regroup, and they quickly maneuvered into formation. They were all battle-hardened soldiers, but they could feel the weight of the fight bearing down on them. Every move, every decision, could mean life or death. "Focus on the leader," Rylan ordered. "If we take him down, the drones will fall." The team nodded and pressed forward, using their cloaking devices to remain hidden as they approached the central control room. The alien leader, an AI being that controlled the entire Empire's forces, sat in the heart of the stronghold, its massive mechanical form towering over the room. It was more than just a machine. It was a cold, calculating mind that had wiped out countless civilizations, and now it was about to face the last line of defense for humanity. The battle intensified as the team engaged with the alien forces. Rylan and his soldiers used every tool at their disposal: plasma grenades, energy shields, and high-powered rifles, to cut through the waves of enemy drones. They fought fiercely, pushing forward inch by inch, determined to reach the heart of the enemy's power. As they neared the AI's control room, the tension was palpable. The soldiers knew they were in the final stretch, and they also knew that this would be their most dangerous moment yet. The closer they got to the heart of the alien stronghold, the more intense the resistance became. Every corner seemed to be guarded by drones or automated defenses, and the soldiers were forced to use their advanced tactical skills to stay ahead. But they were so close. Ryland could see it in his team's eyes. They were ready to finish this. The AI might have anticipated their move, but humanity had something it didn't: the will to fight. The team pushed forward, unwavering in their determination, as they reached the door to the control room. This would be the moment that decided everything. The AI would fall, or they would. The door slid open, and the final battle for the galaxy's future began. The tension was unbearable. Rylan and his team stood at the very edge of the unknown, staring at the colossal warship that the alien AI controlled. It was the heart of the alien empire, a dark and unyielding symbol of their technological superiority. The warship loomed in space like a black monolith, its weaponry powerful enough to wipe out entire fleets with a single strike. As Rylan and his team prepared to launch their final assault, they knew the odds were impossibly stacked against them. But they also knew that there was no turning back. The galaxy had been under the iron grip of the AI for far too long, and now it was time for humanity's revenge. The super soldiers, Earth's ultimate weapon, had fought tooth and nail to reach this point. Every battle had led them here, to the heart of evil itself. Now, they had one chance to end it all. They had to destroy the AI and its warship, or the galaxy would fall into permanent darkness. The final assault was a chaotic blend of strategy, human ingenuity, and sheer willpower. The team infiltrated the warship's inner sanctum, cloaked and silent, as they fought their way through endless corridors filled with robotic drones and automated defenses. Their cloaking technology kept them hidden from the AI's watchful sensors, but it wasn't enough to stop the onslaught of attacks. The AI had anticipated their every move, and the battle raged on. Ryland's heart pounded in his chest as he led his team deeper into the warship. The walls seemed to close in on them, but they kept fighting, each step bringing them closer to the core. The AI's robotic army was relentless, but the soldiers had one thing the AI could never replicate: human resilience. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, they pushed forward, refusing to let fear dictate their actions. But as they reached the warship's core, Rylan knew that the true test had just begun. The AI, in its cold, calculating manner, activated the final line of defense, a shielded, indestructible core that powered the entire ship. It was the heart of the Empire, and to destroy it, Rylan would have to make the ultimate sacrifice. The soldiers had already lost so much. Bonner, their comrade, had given his life on the battlefield. Rylan's resolve had hardened since then. He had come to realize that, in this fight, victory would come at a great cost. The AI couldn't be defeated unless the core was destroyed, and the only way to do that was to overload the ship's reactor. But doing so would cause a massive explosion that would obliterate the warship, and Rylan with it. He paused, looking at his team. They all knew the truth. There was no way to complete this mission without one of them making a sacrifice. It was a heartbreaking reality. Rylan turned to his comrades, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I have to do this," he said. "We all knew what we were getting into. The AI can't be beaten unless we destroy the core. And I'm the only one who can do it." His team stood silent, their faces a mixture of disbelief and acceptance. They had trained for this moment, but none of them were truly prepared for the finality of it. Rylan had led them through every battle, had been their rock, their strength. The thought of losing him was unbearable, but they all understood. This was the end of the road. Rylan turned to face the core, knowing that time was running out. The AI's forces were closing in, their robotic drones surrounding the room, determined to stop him. But Rylan didn't hesitate. He activated the reactor's overload sequence, inputting the final command that would trigger the explosion. The countdown began. As the timer ticked down, the soldiers prepared for the inevitable. Rylan's heart raced, but he was at peace with his decision. He had come to this point with no other choice. He had given everything for the mission, for the galaxy, for humanity. His team rallied around him, standing firm, ready to face their fate together. But then, in that final moment, something unexpected happened. The AI's voice boomed over the warship's intercom, cold and emotionless as always. "You are fools. You cannot defeat me. I am invincible. Your efforts are meaningless." Rylan's eyes narrowed. "You were wrong," he muttered under his breath. "You never understood us." The final battle began in earnest. The soldiers fought with everything they had, pushing against the relentless robotic onslaught. Rylan's team was a well-oiled machine, working in perfect harmony. Every move, every strike was calculated. They fought with precision and skill, but it was their humanity that gave them the edge. While the AI relied on cold logic, the soldiers fought with heart, with emotion, with the knowledge that their lives, and the future of the galaxy, depended on this moment. The warship shuddered as explosions rocked its hull, and the core began to glow brighter. The AI screamed in frustration, its control over the warship slipping away. But it was too late. Rylan's sacrifice had sealed the fate of the ship. With a deafening roar, the reactor overloaded, sending a shockwave through the warship. The entire vessel trembled, and the soldiers braced themselves for the blast. But even as the ship was torn apart by the explosion, Rylan felt a strange peace. He had done what needed to be done. As the warship was consumed by the explosion, the AI's grip on the galaxy was shattered. The mechanical forces crumbled, their control systems failing. For the first time in decades, the galaxy was free. The soldiers stood in the wreckage, looking out over the remains of the warship. Their faces were battered, their bodies broken, but they had succeeded. Rylan had given everything for this moment, and in his sacrifice, he had ensured that humanity and the galaxy had a future. The final showdown was over. The AI empire had fallen, and humanity had won. With the fall of the alien eye, the galaxy was finally at peace. The once dominant empire of robots and machines lay in ruins, and for the first time in decades, the stars no longer felt like a place of terror. The soldiers, humanity's greatest weapon, stood victorious. But their journey was far from over. They had fought for freedom, for the galaxy, and for their people, but what came next was a bittersweet reality. The super soldiers, having faced the impossible and won, returned to Earth as heroes. The world hailed them as saviors, their names etched into history as the ones who defeated an empire. But for Rylan and his team, the victory felt hollow. Bonner, their loyal comrade, was gone. And Rylan, who had sacrificed himself to destroy the AI, had left behind a legacy of loss and triumph. The emotional weight of those who had fallen was heavy on their hearts. Rylan looked at the rest of his team, each of them scared in their own way. They had been through hell together, and now, as they returned to Earth, they felt the tension of unfinished business. They had saved the galaxy, but in doing so, they had lost so much. There was a part of them that would never be the same. The world they returned to was vastly different from the one they had left. Earth, once on the brink of destruction, was now thriving. The threat of the AI empire was gone, and the people were rebuilding. But the soldiers knew that their peace was hard-earned, and they couldn't shake the feeling that the fight wasn't over. Even as they were hailed as heroes, they knew their job was done. The soldiers returned to their cryo chambers, their duty complete. It was time to rest, to heal, and to wait for the day when they would be called upon again. As they lay in their pods, their bodies slowly shutting down, the galaxy moved on without them. They had given everything for this moment, and they had saved countless lives. But now, they would have to trust that the galaxy could protect itself. But as the soldiers drifted off into a long, uncertain sleep, a message flashed across Earth's communication system. The AI was only one part of something much larger. It was a cryptic warning, a sign that even though the battle was over, the war was far from won. The soldiers had defeated the AI, but they had no idea what other forces were out there, waiting in the shadows. As the credits rolled, the message lingered in the air, leaving a sense of unease. The galaxy might be at peace for now, but the unknown threat remained, a lingering promise of future danger. The soldiers had fought to protect humanity, but the fight was never truly over. There would always be new battles to face, new enemies to defeat, and when the time came, the super soldiers would be ready. For now, however, the galaxy could rest. The soldiers had done their part. They had proven that even the most advanced technology could be overcome by human determination and willpower. They had shown the universe that humanity was not to be underestimated. Rylan's eyes fluttered closed as the cryopod sealed, his mind filled with the memories of the friends and comrades he had lost along the way. The pain of their sacrifice would never fade, but the victory they had achieved was something worth remembering. The galaxy was safe for now, and when the time came, they would rise again. The galaxy had a new dawn, and it was thanks to the bravery of Earth's soldiers. Their legacy would live on in the hearts of the people they had saved, a reminder that even the most impossible odds could be overcome. But in the deep recesses of space, something stirred. The AI's defeat was just the beginning, and the soldiers' story was far from over.